I am Harrison Rademacher. On this edition of HPR Weather News, you'll take a look at why the Russian meteor impact is a sign that more surprise meteor strikes are likely over the course of time. We will also take a look at who's going to receive some severe weather and some winter weather this week. We'll also take a look at what Winter Storm Plato did in the Northeast last week, and as a special HPR Weather News, we will also take a look at why hummingbirds are making their way back to their place earlier than anticipated this year. HPR Weather News is coming up next. KHPR would like to thank the following people for making HPR Weather News possible. The Weather Channel, weather.com. Your local National Weather Service Forecast Office. NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Southwest High School of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Field Middle School of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And viewers like you. Thank you. This is KHPR TV in high definition in the Twin Cities. Now, from the Twin Cities, your favorite weather news of the week. HPR Weather News with Harrison Rademacher, reporting live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Here is Harrison with the latest news message. Welcome to HPR Weather News. I'm Harrison Rademacher. Man, I'll tell you, here in the Twin Cities, it's definitely getting colder. We've had a few cold fronts made their way through, and I'll tell you, we are in the 30s and now we're in the teens. And we'll definitely explain why later in the newscast. But for now, let's get to our news headlines. And as you may have heard, a meteor hit Russia. Here's what we know of at this time of the meteor. 1,200 people were hurt, 4,000 buildings were damaged of some sort. A meteor produced a shock wave before entering, but burned just before hitting the ground, and it weighed 10,000 tons while entering Earth's atmosphere. These are some of the pictures of the meteor as it strikes Russia. Now, NASA says that it only has less than a 1% chance of catching meteors that are less than 300 feet in diameter, so small meteors are harder to detect than larger ones. You may be wondering what this picture has to do with Winter Storm Plato that hit the Northeast last weekend, but this is what it looked like from the satellite. Now, Hurricane Plato had a millibar reading of 954, which is extreme low pressure, far lower than the previous storm that hit the Northeast a weekend ago, dropping 3 feet of snow in some areas. Now, with Plato, this storm system produced some thunder snow, which is really rare in some areas and only occurs with this strength. And we also picked up 6 to 10 inches of snow and 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts in some areas, making a blizzard condition area. Here is our next winter storm. It's Winter Storm Q. Now, this storm will start out in the southwest and make its way to the Midwest by Thursday and Friday. But we are looking at 6 to 12 inches in some of the mountains in California and a few other areas over the southwestern United States. Now, as Winter Storm Q progresses to the Midwest, we are looking at 12 plus inches in the eastern half of Nebraska, with 6 to 12 inches possible for Minneapolis and Kansas City, less amounts outside this area. We have a little severe weather action going on down south. You can expect scenarios like this over the next few days in this area. Now, despite that this is not a significant outbreak, you should still be prepared. It's quiz time. Here is our quiz question of the day. On the Enhanced Fujita scale, or EF, What was the rating of the Hattiesburg, Mississippi tornado that happened on February 10th, 2013? 0 through 5 for a hint. If you think you know, shout it out after the forecast. It is time to shout out your quiz answer. Correct answer is EF4. This is the Hattiesburg, Mississippi tornado from last weekend. As you can see, it's a classic wedge tornado. It left a lot of damage, but fortunately, no one was killed. You may be interested to know that hummingbirds are returning to South Carolina early. One of these hummingbirds that you see is returning early due to the fact that the temperatures at where it stays in the winter is getting way too hot. Unfortunately, due to the early return of the hummingbird, there may not be enough food or nesting area available for it, so we'll see how it survives over the next few months. That is all for this edition of HPR Weather News. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you next week for our next episode. HPR Weather News is a production of KHPR Minneapolis.